Okay, so let's begin. Nutrition Simplified. Whoops, just give me a moment. This is acting funny on me. Okay, here we go. So we're going to talk about why it's important to strive to eat healthy, some food planning and preparation tips, shopping and reading labels, mindful eating, because a lot of us know generally what's healthy, what's not healthy. But why do we make the choices that we make? Healthy meal and snack ideas. So lots of info to cover in a short amount of time. So the reason behind healthy eating, the purpose of eating healthy, you've probably heard the saying, you are what you eat. We really are. The food that we eat is broken down to nutrients. You may have heard this in my digestion seminar. So food that we eat is broken down to vitamins, to minerals, to amino acids, to fatty acids, and to glucose. And those nutrients are used to build our cells, our tissues, our organs. We are literally made up of the nutrients that come from the food we eat. So it's really important to consider the quality of ingredients that we're putting into our body. Food is also our fuel. It's our source of fuel. So what we eat will have a significant impact on our energy levels. The food we eat also influences our ability to heal, regenerate, and repair tissues. So all of those nutrients that come from our food are used to help when we're fighting a virus or a cold or a flu, or if we have an injury, if we have tissue that needs to be rebuilt or healed, even from working out, for instance. When we work out, we break down muscle mass, which is made of protein. So those amino acids in our diet help to regenerate the muscle and build healthy muscle tissue. Other potential health benefits from eating a healthier diet, it's endless, really. We all know that eating healthy is naturally going to improve digestion, improve our energy, make us feel better all around. But long term, it really helps to balance our hormone levels, regulate mood and improve mental cognition, improve our sleep. So the food you eat will influence the quality of sleep that you experience, increase metabolism and energy, improve our ability to cope with stress. So when we eat a healthier diet, we have more tools to help us cope with everyday stress, improves focus and concentration, lowers our risk of disease, so helps to boost the immune system, helping to prevent us from catching colds, flus, viruses that are circulating, but also helps to prevent lifestyle diseases like diabetes, type 2 diabetes, and cardiovascular disease. And definitely in the long term, helps to prolong life and helps to ensure that we experience a healthy life in our later years. So as I always mention, let's strive toward a diet of 75 to 80% whole, natural, plant-based foods, whole, natural foods. So these whole natural foods are foods that come from nature. They haven't been processed by any means. There's no chemical ingredients added to them. They're nutrient dense. They're affordable. They're easy to access, easy to prepare. They taste delicious and they fuel us. So these whole natural foods should ideally make up the majority of our diet. And the whole natural foods are things like vegetables, a whole variety of vegetables, fruits, legumes like beans, peas, lentils, nuts and seeds, herbs and spices, whole grains, whether gluten-free or gluten grains. So things like gluten-free grains would be brown rice and quinoa and buckwheat and millet. And then whole grains that do contain gluten, if you aren't gluten intolerant, are things like wheat and rye and spelt and kamut. If you're not vegetarian, then cold water fish, natural meats, and natural dairy would also be whole natural foods. So striving toward that, you're somewhere along the spectrum, and you need to determine where you're at, but the ideal goal is to consume approximately 75 to 80% whole natural foods. Processed foods, on the other hand, are foods that have been altered from their natural state. So they've been altered from their natural state by machine, by factory, by man. They often have chemical additives, added sugar, salt, low quality oils. So ingredients that our body is not naturally designed to eat. They're often high in calories, low in protein, low in nutrients and fiber. They can be addictive due to these artificial ingredients and the high sugar content and salt, and therefore they cause health problems. They require more nutrients and energy to digest and break down than they actually provide you with. So really think about that. If we eat foods that are difficult to digest, they're going to require more energy from you to digest, to break down, than they will provide you with. So it puts you into kind of an energy deficit. Stresses digestion, leading to digestive problems, obesity, lowered immunity, and many other health problems, because we know there's a connection between our gut and our immune system, our mental health. Populations with the highest consumption of processed foods also have the highest incidence of degenerative diseases, and North Americans are pretty high up on that list. It's also important, though, to consider the degree of processing. So not all processed foods are evil. It's important that we read labels and pay attention to how much a food has been processed, to be mindful of that. So let's take a snack bar, for instance, like in this diagram. A homemade granola bar made with rolled oats and nuts and seeds, maybe some dried fruit, maybe maple syrup or honey for a sweetener, and some spices like cinnamon or ginger. This is a very minimally processed food, right? It's made from all natural ingredients. So this is definitely a better option. It doesn't have any chemicals in it. It's very, very minimally processed and has nutritional value. And then we move down the scale a little bit, and we have nut and seed bars that you can get in the health food store or in the health food section at a grocery store that are processed. They've been manufactured by machine in a factory, but they are made from whole natural ingredients. This one has almond butter in it and real chocolate, and you won't find any chemical additives in this type of product. So maybe not as ideal as homemade, but not horrible. Maybe a little bit high in sugar. It might have a little bit more salt than we like, but generally not a horrible option. We move down the scale further and we find more commercially processed bars. So bars that have these fake yogurt coatings, that have hydrogenated oils and lots of sugar in them and some chemical flavorings and additives. Sure, it still has some nuts and seeds in it, so there are some whole natural foods incorporated, but we're getting to a more processed product. So less nutrient dense, some artificial ingredients added. And then on the furthest end of the spectrum, you have, your traditional candy bars, which are very highly processed and probably don't have very few anyways, actual food ingredients in them. So if you were to read the label, the ingredient label, it's made up of a lot of artificial, chemically made ingredients. So paying attention to the degree of processing is really important. Balancing our eating is an important consideration when it comes to successful, healthy eating. So considering your plate or your portion or your day or your week, we want to aim for lots and lots of vegetables. A lot of people will say about 50% of your plate, half of your plate should be vegetable content. I encourage people to aim for even more. Veggies are low in calories, but loaded with nutrition and fiber, and different colored vegetables have different phytonutrients and antioxidants to support immunity, to support gut health. There's so many benefits. So load up that plate with veggies, a small portion of protein, so about the size of the palm of your hand, minus your fingers, half an inch thick. That's an ideal size of protein. So your protein is, your fish, your chicken, your meat, or your beans, or vegetarian sources of protein. Carbohydrates, if you're going to include them in the meal. I know often today people leave the carbs out or the starches out, but carbohydrates like quinoa or rice or pasta or potato would be, again, no more than about a fistful in a meal. And then garnishing with some kind of oil, either cooking with some kind of high quality oil like avocado oil or coconut oil or cold pressed olive oil. These oils are really beneficial, or dressing the dish with some seeds. I often talk about my favorite seed mixture that I make. That's a combination of flax seeds and chia seeds, hemp seeds, sesame seeds, and pumpkin seeds. I keep a jar of these mixed seeds and I sprinkle them onto things like stir fries or veggie bowls or salads, even oatmeal or smoothies. And that gives you some beneficial fats as well. So that's just an idea of how to balance your plate. So when it comes to healthy eating success, there's lots of strategies on how you can make that work for you. What's really important is to maintain focus on your why. So we listed the benefits of healthy eating. Why is it that you want to improve your eating habits? Why is it that you want to improve your lifestyle? What are you looking to improve in your life? Are you looking to increase your energy levels? Are you looking to prevent disease? Are you looking to improve your digestion or your focus, concentration, cognition? There's so many benefits. So really pinpointing what it is, what your goals are, being clear on that, and then taking some time, ideally every day, first thing in the morning is great, or before you go to bed, or both, to just take a minute and reflect and focus on those goals. Keeping those goals, or keeping that vision, a vision of you living a healthier life, feeling better, having energy, feeling happier, lighter, keeping those goals in mind and actually visualizing it will help you stay on track. Education is really, really key. I was chatting with a friend this week, and she mentioned that food preparation and planning and cooking can be a little intimidating, and for some people, even embarrassing. So if there's friends over, and I know at one point when I graduated from nutrition school, we didn't have any training on knife skills. So I felt uncomfortable teaching a cooking class in front of people because I didn't have proper knife skill training. But today there's so much free accessible information online. So whatever it is that you need to learn, whatever skills you need to brush up on to make healthy eating and food preparation more effective for you, you can easily find YouTube videos on. There's lots of books and podcasts, and there's just a wealth of information out there. And I love YouTube because the videos are so quick and easy. So when I wanted to learn knife skills, proper knife skills, I just searched some Jamie Oliver videos on how to chop herbs, or how to cut an avocado, and it's really easy to find that kind of information. If you're not sure how to select your produce at the grocery store, if you're not sure how to pick the right melon, for instance, or the right avocados, Google it. There's lots of info online. It's so quick and easy and accessible these days. You can even pull it up in your phone in the grocery store if you need to. And then how-to videos, cooking videos. I've recently, this might sound silly, but I've recently gotten into TikTok. So I have 2 teenagers, and they encouraged me to download TikTok. So I did, and I love it because the videos are about 30 seconds long. And there's some really cool how-to videos and cooking videos where you can learn how to make a recipe in 30 seconds. It's in fast forward motion, and you get the idea in a very quick amount of time. Very inspiring. Consider your environment and your influencers. So who are you surrounding yourself around? I'm fortunate that I work in the industry, so I'm around health conscious people all the time. That makes it much easier for me to stay focused. So who are you hanging out with? Who are you spending time with? Who are you watching online? Who are you following on social media? Who are your influencers? Maybe look up some new influencers online. Take classes, join groups. There's lots of Facebook groups for healthy eating that you can join. Clubs, like cooking clubs. There's even online clubs now. So there's lots of places where you can get inspiration and connect with like-minded people who have similar goals. And then considering your living space and your work environment. So the environments where you're going to be eating and doing food preparation, especially the kitchen, It's important to make it feel inviting. You want a kitchen that's nice and fresh and clean and tidy and organized and welcoming so that you feel inspired to spend time in that space. Reflecting on what you're already doing really well. So, what's working for you? What works well for you? What do you wish to improve on, and how will you do it? And then prioritizing and really creating the time to do the planning, the prep, the cooking, and the eating. Not trying to find the time, but creating that time. And sometimes that does require some creativity. Healthy food prep doesn't require a ton of time, but it does require some time. So, for instance, one of the things I do is I'm fortunate that I have a kitchen at my work. I'll sometimes prepare some of my dinner ingredients at work in the kitchen and then bring them home with me. Prepping in the morning, if you're a morning person, maybe waking up half an hour early to do a bit of food prep then, using some time on the weekends. Think about how much time you're spending on in front of a screen. You know, how much time are you on your phone? How much time are you watching TV per week? And can you decrease that by maybe 2 hours to fit in 2 hours of food prep a week? So there's tons of planning tools out there. The first piece of advice would be to determine what type of cook you are and what type of planner you are. Do you like to batch cook once a week on the weekend and make everything for the week ahead of time, or at least prepare and chop ingredients and plan the week out? Or do you like to go day by day and make dinner from scratch every night? Are you not crazy about cooking? Maybe you're not crazy about cooking and you want to find some healthier meals or ingredients that are or kits that are already assembled and made for you that makes it easier for you. Determine what your goals are for the week. Draft a meal plan, a shopping list, and a preparation schedule, and keep it realistic to you, and develop a routine. That's really important, especially in the beginning. If you haven't been doing regular food prep and planning, making it routine and consistent for the first little while at least will really help you achieve your goals. So for instance, the technique that works best for me, and you know, sometimes it falls aside if we're away for a weekend or something, is I try to do my planning throughout the week. I do my grocery shopping on Fridays and do some food preparation on the weekend. And that really helps to make my following week really successful. So there's tools, there's apps, there's the simplest way is, you know, a good old notebook or pen and paper, just writing out a plan for the week. And a grocery list, keeping your grocery list on the fridge and updating it every time you realize you're out of something or you'll need something. You can download templates and print them, or if you prefer to do stuff online, planning online, there's all kinds of free templates and Excel and different software programs to help you if you want to become more advanced and have like an actual meal plan with grocery list. And then there's apps like this one in the image, it's called Meal Lime. There's lots of different apps where you can plan out your food. They're linked to recipes, so they'll even connect you with the recipes and develop grocery lists for you based on the recipes. I find that a bit complex, but some people love it. My personal method is it's not super structured, so it's somewhere in between. Some people love a lot of structure, some people don't like as much structure. I simply message myself recipes that I find throughout the week that I really want to try, or I'll email them to myself and keep a collection in my email. And each week I sit down and create kind of a tight but loose plan of what I intend to make throughout the week. It's important to take a glance at your Google Calendar or your whatever calendar you use for the following week to see what days you're going to be home, what days you have more time to prep, what days you might need to resort to a freezer meal or something more instant, so you have an idea of what your week's going to look like. Consider theme days. That's something fun that some people will do. So, you know, taco night, pasta night, vegan night, that works for some people. Enlist family members, a partner or a friend. So even if you live alone, you know, sharing the food prep with a friend who maybe lives alone, or swapping foods throughout the week, you know, cook a batch of something and share it with a friend. If you live with your family, then getting the kids involved, getting them to help out where they can, getting them to find new recipes that they think they would like to try. And of course, partners, spouses, roommates, getting them to help out where needed as well. Doing your own grocery shopping, or sending somebody else from the family out for groceries with a list, that can help as well. So shopping, schedule a grocery shopping or delegate it, as I mentioned. Bring a list with you so that you don't impulse buy. There may be things on the list that you come across that you need, but if you have a list, then you won't forget things and you'll less likely impulse buy. Just letting somebody in. Shop local where possible. So when we can, shop at farmers markets or buy produce locally, we're going to get more nutritional value. Local produce has more nutrients in it, and we're supporting local businesses and farmers. Shop the perimeter of the store and fill your cart with a rainbow of produce. So the majority of whole natural foods will be found around the perimeter of the grocery store. The aisles have the processed foods. So if we want to aim for 70 to 80% whole natural foods, shop the perimeter first and really aim at filling up the majority of your cart with foods from that perimeter. 70-30 natural foods to processed foods is the goal. Reading labels, we'll cover that in a minute. Success tips, we all know, don't shop when hungry. Aim to get everything once per week, so plan ahead rather than having to run out to the grocery store several times a week because, oh, we forgot this, I forgot that, I'm out of this, I'm out of that. Try to get everything at once when possible. Purchase pre-cut prepared items, healthy baking mixes. These kinds of items will help to save time if you're tight for time. And there's lots of pre-cut options now. You can even get things like spiralized zucchini or pre-cut squash. I know squash is difficult to cut. So anything that makes it easier definitely helps. If you're looking to buy a treat or dessert, then maybe consider getting just a portion. So, the bakery section of the grocery store, often when you walk by, it's very tempting to buy a whole package of cupcakes, but they sell them in individual sizes as well. So if you really want to treat yourself one night, great, treat yourself, maybe get a portion size. Or if you get a package, portion them out. So put them into individual containers so that you don't tend to overconsume. Consider a local produce delivery if that's something that if shopping is a struggle for you and you're not getting out enough to get enough fresh vegetables. So we talked about the degree of processing. The other aspect that's really important to consider when we're buying packaged or processed foods is the ingredient list for sure, the product claims, and the nutrition facts table. So the product claims are the claims that are on the front of the package that say things like sugar-free or heart-healthy choice or low in cholesterol. Be wary of these claims. It's not that the claim itself is false. It's just that, there may be other issues with that food that they're trying to mask. So if a food is high in or low or doesn't contain sugar, low in sugar, or doesn't contain sugar, it doesn't mean that it's necessarily healthy. It may have chemical sweeteners in it, like aspartame, for instance, that are still not good for us, or it may be really high in a type of oil that's not healthy. So just don't buy into the claims on the front of the packages. Turn that package around and glance through the ingredients and the label. And I'm just going to skim through this. You will get the slides after, by the way. I'll send out these slides. So if you need to go back and reference anything, you can. So the ingredient list on processed or packaged foods is listed in order, descending order of predominance by weight. So meaning that the first ingredient on the list is the ingredient that is in there in the largest quantity. So if you look at this first label here that I have, the wider one, this is for Kellogg's cornflakes, cornflakes. And the first ingredient is milled corn. The second ingredient is sugar. So there's the greatest ingredient in the product is corn. The second greatest is sugar. And the list goes on. We have corn and barley malt extract, salt, color being a synthetic ingredient, BHT as a preservative, and then added vitamins and minerals because this food is so poor and lacking nutrition that they actually add in synthetic nutrients, vitamins and minerals. The nutrition table to the right of that one is for Barbara's cornflakes, or maybe it's O's, sorry, I'm not sure which cereal. And you can see that although not ideal, it does have all natural ingredients. So organic milled corn, organic cane sugar, so still fairly high in sugar, but at least it's cane sugar, sea salt, no chemical or artificial ingredients. So taking a glance through that ingredient list is really important so that you know what you're buying and you know what you're eating. Things you want to watch for are sugars. So sugars, there's probably about 140 different names for sugar on an ingredient list. Anything ending in OSE is a sugar. Dextrin and maltodextrin is also sugar. Hydrogenated fats, trans fats have been banned in food production in Canada years ago. However, they still sneak into the food industry because they can sometimes be in the ingredients that are added into the food. So they may not be listed on the label, but they may still be in there. White flour, so white flour, enriched flour, light flour. If you've been to any of my seminars before, you know that anything white has been bleached and stripped of all of the fiber and nutrients, so we want to look for whole or brown products. High salt, so if you see sodium, MSG, high up on the list of ingredients, you know there's a lot of salt in that food. And then chemical additives, there's a whole list of them, but things like aspartame, food colorings, artificial flavorings and sweeteners, nitrates, sulfites, aluminum, BHT, BHA, then you get the idea. There's a lot of different chemicals that are added to food to enhance shelf life and flavor and so on. So we want to watch those for sure. So I always reference the ingredient list. Sometimes I take a peek at the nutrition facts table, but I feel like this is less important than looking at the ingredients. So the nutrition facts table is always, the information in this table is always based on a portion. And the portion is the serving size that's listed at the top. So you'll see this is a box of granola bars. And this information provided here is based on one bar, one granola bar. They assume that you'll eat one bar. So the calories, it's pretty straightforward. This bar is 140 calories. Trans fats, these are just some things that you might want to take a peek at when you're comparing different brands. Trans fats should ideally be 0, and you want to have more of the polyunsaturated fats. Those are the omega-3 and 6 fats, really important for health. Sodium, ideally, sodium should be less than 200 milligrams per serving. In processed foods, it's very rare to find that. So the closer to 200 milligrams, the better. Fiber, your goal is 30 to 40 grams a day. So the more fiber in the product, the better. Often processed food is very low in fiber. This one has 4 grams per bar, so that's actually not too bad. Sugar, ideally, again, and this is ideal, less than 5 grams per portion. Again, with processed food, it's very, very rare to find a granola bar or a yogurt or a cereal that has less than 5 grams of added sugar. If you can find something less than 8 grams, then you're doing pretty good. But watch that sugar. And then protein, if there's any protein in it, that's awesome. We want to aim for more protein. A lot of processed foods are very high in sugar and carbohydrates and very low in protein. So this particular bar has 7 grams, which again is pretty good for a snack bar. Food preparation. So really important to schedule that time, really carve it out. A minimum, I would say, twice a week, and that will vary from person to person. It could be 15 minutes twice a week. It could be 2 hours twice a week. My minimum is about an hour on Sunday night, and in an hour I can get quite a bit done. But if you have more time, that's great. Think about cleaning and preparing a variety of vegetables and fruits and keeping them in the fridge in containers that will help to preserve them longer. So some people will wash and prep their fruits and vegetables as soon as they get home from the grocery store, and then it's taken care of, and that helps to reduce waste because you'll more likely eat it throughout the week. Batch prep, cook, freeze in portion sizes or family sizes. So depending on whether you live by yourself or you have a large family, or you might want to do a little bit of both. So if you make things like one pot dishes, which are great at this time of year. They're nice and comforting and warming, like soups and chilies and curries and casseroles and stews and, you know, stir fries. These things can be made in really large portions. You can make a big pot of it, a big dish, and freeze. I like to either freeze half of it, so I'll make enough for 2 dinners, and freeze half of it for the following week, or, you know, later in the month, for a night when we don't have time to prepare. Or I'll freeze in portion sizes. So like the smaller image, the little bubble that you see with the little single servings, it's nice to have portions ready to go that you can grab and bring to lunch with you and just warm up. Make sauces, dressing, trail mixes, seed mixes, frozen herb cubes. Those are really cool. So if you have fresh herbs and you know that you're not going to use them all, you can chop the fresh herbs, put them in an ice cube tray with some olive oil or avocado oil or melted butter, and freeze them so that you can just pop them into your pan. Garlic, this can be done with garlic as well. So it's a great little tip. But making the sauces, dressings, trail mixes, things like that, granola, like things that you can make in big batches that won't spoil, making them in larger batches will last longer for sure. Portion out snacks in advance. That's something that I just started doing this year and find it really helpful. So if we have a bag of potato chips in the cupboard, portioning them out into snack sizes so that, you know, you don't eat the whole bag at once. Or because I have kids and they're going to school, I portion out. If I make muffins or something like that, I'll put them in individual containers. Yes, I own a lot of containers ahead of time so that we don't even have to deal with packaging them the day of. Portioning out nuts and seeds is also helpful. So a portion of nuts and seeds, like a trail mix, would just be a small handful. So putting those in little containers. I try not to use Ziploc because it's not recyclable. But for some people, Ziploc is definitely the way to go. But there's a variety of glass or plastic Tupperware containers that you can get as well. These are some images of things that I did last weekend when I had very little time. So this would be my minimal food prep weekend. This is not a weekend where I'm making big batches and you know, slow cooker meals, but this is the minority, or the minimum that I would get done on a weekend. So just cutting a bunch of fruits and washing them so that they're easy to grab and go for the school snacks and work snacks. I always have fresh cut lemon in the fridge. Those of you who've been to my digestion seminar know that I always start my day with a glass of water with lemon, fresh squeezed lemon, and lemon is a great seasoning on food as well. So having it already washed and cut, I know it's simple to cut a lemon, but sometimes we just don't feel like it or don't have the time. It's there and it's ready to go. Having a bowl of fresh fruits accessible right on the kitchen table so people see it, right? It's right within eyesight. Making my seed mix, granola, and trail mixes, which again, I keep on the counter, so it's within sight and easy access. Snack bin. So I have a school snack bin for the kids where they get to pick out one of these, usually prepared, processed, like packaged food. Sometimes if I do a lot of baking, there's some muffins in that image. Those will be included in the snack bin as well. So that way they can just grab one of those and then they get, you know, their fresh fruit, their fresh vegetable, and their main lunch item as well. But that's done for the week. Chopping, pre-chopping, and preparing vegetables and putting them in containers in the fridge so that people can have them with hummus, or you can even use them for cooking. So often I'll do broccoli and cauliflower in a bowl, and they're great to munch on raw with hummus, but also really great to steam for those nights where you're looking for a veggie to accompany your fish or your chicken or whatever dish that you're making. Cucumbers, my youngest is a cucumber fanatic, so there's always containers of cucumber in the fridge ready to go for school snacks. So preparation success tips: make it fun. When you're in the kitchen, have a dance party, put on some music, listen to a podcast, enlist in a partner, you know, do your food prep with a friend or with a family member. Set the ambience, make it fun, make it a fun experience. Consider preparing your next day's breakfast, lunch, or snacks while making or cleaning up dinner. This is something that I, again, just started doing. I used to prep the kids' school lunches the night before, like at nighttime after they were in bed when they were younger, or even the morning of. And that made for chaos. First of all, who has the energy to do food prep like at 10 o'clock at night? So doing that while making dinner or cleaning up dinner is usually the easiest time I find to do that kind of thing, to prepare my own lunch and my kids' lunches. Stockpile your freezer with single or family size meals. We talked about that. So once you have a good collection in the freezer, then you have that security blanket. You know, if you're not feeling like making something one night, or you're short for time, or you have a really hectic week, you didn't have time to do food prep on the weekend, then you have a good inventory in the freezer and a variety in case you need, you don't feel like certain things. And so many dishes can be frozen. And there's so many great websites with recipes. I don't use cookbooks anymore because there's just an unlimited amount of recipes online. It can be a bit overwhelming, but I suggest you look for specific things. So if you feel like soup, for instance, then look up soup recipes. You can look up crock pot recipes. You can look up freezer meals. If you use what you have in the house. So if you only have 3 ingredients in your fridge, you have broccoli and you have a can of beans in your cupboard and some cilantro, then look up a recipe with those 3 ingredients, and I guarantee you'll find several. Invest in helpful kitchen tools like good knives, food processor, slow cooker, blender, cookware, good quality cookware, and storage. Definitely storage solutions help. So all of those tools will help to speed things up and make cooking easier for you. Keep your kitchen stocked with essentials. We'll talk about those in a minute. Work with what you have and consider a food service if needed. So here are what, in my opinion, are some really important essentials to a healthy kitchen. Lemons are amazing. They can be squeezed onto cooked vegetables. You can add lemon to your water for improved digestion. Lemon in salad dressings and sauces is fantastic. So having lemons on hand is really great. They're also really high in vitamin C and very alkalizing, which is great for your health. Apples, a really great snack. This is nature's fast food. Bananas, apples, all of the fruits that just require a quick wash or a peel. Nature's fast food, having that with some almond butter. One of my favorite snacks is sliced apples with almond butter, and I sprinkle some pumpkin seeds in the almond butter. Sometimes I will sprinkle cinnamon on the apples as well, and that's a fantastic snack. Green leafies. So green leafies are always in my fridge, whether it's kale or baby spinach, Swiss chard, mesclun mix. So really great for salads, for stir fries, for veggie bowls, and so nutrient dense. Smoothies as well, you can pop them into smoothies. Frozen berries, again, really good for smoothies and desserts. Avocados, always fantastic to have on hand because they're so filling and so good for you. So adding them to salads, adding them to vegetable dishes or your smoothie is great. Spices and herbs, so having a good array of spices and herbs, dried or fresh. I really love the Frontier spices at Natural Food Pantry. They're sold in bulk jars. Previously, you would have to spoon them out yourself and take the portion that you want. Now with COVID, we have them pre-bagged or pre-packaged, but really great to have a variety of spices because spices really enhance the flavor of your food and also the nutritional value. Nut and seed butters and nuts and seeds. So another great snack, maybe not for school, but for work or for home. Having those, the apple with almond butter or peanut butter on some celery, on toast, on crackers, and trail mixes. Again, a really nice filling food that's really good for you. Plant-based milks. I don't remember the last time I bought cow's milk. There's so many different great plant-based milks that are easier to digest. So there's everything from almond, cashew, coconut milk, always keeping those on hand, great for baking, great for sauces. Apple cider vinegar, really great for salad dressings. Salad dressing, sauces, enhances the flavor in a lot of dishes, and great to take on its own, again, like the lemon and some water to enhance digestion and metabolism. Good quality cooking oils like the avocado oil in this image. Avocado oil is fantastic because it tolerates heat, so it's very stable. You can use it in all forms of cooking. I really like coconut oil as well. The Bragg liquid aminos, that's like a tamari sauce that is fantastic. I always use this in just a splash in soups, in chilies, in curries and Thai dishes. It really helps to enhance the flavor. So if you've made a soup, if you've tried a new recipe, say a soup or something, and you find that it's a little bland, it's missing something, just a splash of these liquid aminos really make a difference. And then vegetable broth. I like to try to make my own, but that doesn't always happen. So keeping some containers of vegetable broth or soup cubes in the pantry is always a great staple to have on hand. Just gonna check the time. Okay, we have 15 minutes. Eating out and gatherings. So just a few little suggestions on how to maintain healthy eating when eating out, and how to not, to avoid overdoing it and feeling exhausted and bloated and miserable afterward. Now, if you don't go out very much and you really want to splurge and indulge, go for it. But these are just some little tips that will help you enjoy the food and enjoy the evening or the event without feeling tired and bloated afterward. So restaurants requesting substitutes, they're usually really happy to do that. So for instance, I know often when you go to fast food restaurants, like say Thai food or a shawarma place, they load your plate with a lot of starches like rice, Vietnamese too, and all of those ethnic restaurants. They load your plate with rice or pasta or noodles and very little vegetables and protein. So I always like to request more veggies, less of the starch. You can definitely do that. Request sauces and spreads and dressings on the side so that you can control how much you put on. Watch carbs and sugary drinks. So having pop, for instance, will likely provide you with about 8 teaspoons, sorry, of sugar that your body doesn't need. So if you're going to opt for dessert or for a high sugar drink, then maybe choose one or the other rather than both. Order your food grilled, poached, baked, steamed rather than fried. Enjoy salads and veggie bowls. There's lots of options for those. For gatherings, try to avoid arriving really hungry. So have a smoothie or a salad or something light beforehand that will fill you up a little bit so that you don't feel like you need to fill your plate with everything. Bring a healthy option. If it's I know there's not very many gatherings these days, but you can keep this in mind for the future. Bring a healthy option if it's a potluck, so you have something to eat and you have something healthy to share as well. If it's at a venue, review the menu in advance. So think ahead about what you may want to order and predetermine your indulgence. So like I said, if you really want to have a drink or two, great, maybe pass on the dessert. If you want to have a dessert, then maybe hold off on the appetizers. So balance it out. Most importantly, think success. So as I said, prioritize yourself and your health. I think especially women, but some men too, we tend to put other people first. We're always thinking about our family members, the people around us, trying to help everybody else, and often putting ourselves last. But prioritizing ourselves is really important because if you want to be there for those people long term, you really need to think about taking care of yourself. Don't find the time, create it. So be crafty, be creative, and you can always watch some time management videos on YouTube as well. Create realistic habits that you enjoy. Are you a baby steps or a giant leap type person? Do you want to take little baby steps toward your goals, or do you want to make a huge transition? I'd say that more people are successful with baby steps. I'm personally more of a leap person. But it depends on what it is, what the goal is. Plan ahead. Envision yourself living out your goals. So keep that vision in mind. Connect with the sensation of success. So really imagine how you would feel on every level, emotionally, physically, mentally, if you were to follow through on your plan, on your goals. And practice mindful eating. So mindful eating, I've gone through this before in some of my other seminars, really has three steps. The first one begins before we eat, and that's with stopping and asking yourself, when you go to reach for something to eat, stopping and asking yourself, am I really hungry right now? Am I actually hungry right now? If the answer is no, I just ate an hour ago, why am I looking to eat right now? Then take a minute to reflect on what you're looking to soothe or nurture through food. Is it because we do tend to eat emotionally? We are emotional eaters. We do tend to eat kind of impulsively. It is part of our human nature. But if it's something that you're doing frequently and it's interfering with your health or your life, then it's important to address that. So think about, is it boredom? Some people eat because they're bored. Some people eat because when they're stressed or angry or anxious or worried or tired. So consider why it is that you're looking to eat and think about what you could perhaps do instead. What can you replace that habit with? Maybe stopping and going for a walk or journaling or singing or dancing or spending some time doing some food prep, painting, listening to some music. There's so many different things that we can do to help soothe, deep breathing, meditation, allowing the emotions to your body to process the emotions. So many of us tend to want to suppress or avoid emotions, especially the ones we consider negative, like anger and fear and sadness. So allowing yourself to move through the wave of those emotions is important as well. If you are hungry, if it has been some time since you've eaten and your body is really saying, yeah, I need some nourishment right now, then consider what would be the best choice. What would meet your requirements? If it's the middle of the afternoon and you're feeling a bit tired and you feel like you need something that will give you a bit of a boost, maybe fruit is the answer. So becoming mindful of that. While we're eating, it's really important to sit and relax. Digestion occurs when we're in a relaxed state, not when we're in a stressed state. So it's really important to sit, relax, take a break from work or technology, set the atmosphere if possible. So at home for dinner, light some candles, play some soft music, eat outside when possible, not so much at this time of year. Eat as a family or in community, or take a break and eat alone if you're at work and you're around people all day. Do what feels best for you. Take a breath before you eat. Offer gratitude. And that can be in the form of just reflecting on where your food came from and what did it take to get that food to your table? Who was involved in getting that food to your table? Just reflecting on the abundance of food that we have and how fortunate we are to have the food and the options that we do. Take small bites and chew really thoroughly. Chewing is it's the first mechanical step in digestion. It's really important to chew to optimize your digestion. Really savor and appreciate and notice the aromas, the textures, and the flavors in your food. If you eat really quickly, you won't notice the flavors as much. But if you really take time to eat mindfully, you'll notice how delicious a red pepper is, for instance. Stop when you're content but not full or stuffed. You can set aside the extra food for later for a snack if you want. After you're eating, pay attention to how you feel after you eat a meal or a snack. So do you feel energized? Do you feel good? Or do you feel really sluggish and bloated and tired and icky? Keep a food journal to increase your awareness. So that's a tool that you can use to make correlations between the food you eat and the way you feel. Observe and witness with compassion and non-judgment. So that's your eating behavior. If you do slip and you eat impulsively, like I said, we all do once in a while. And that's okay, as long as it's not disrupting your life and it's not a regular habit. So when you do notice yourself do that, just reflect a little bit on how maybe, why that happened and what you can do differently next time. Hacks to help prevent impulsive eating: keep healthy food accessible and within sight. So keeping fruits on the counter, trail mix on the counter, that always helps. Keeping your healthy food at the front of your pantry. If you do have, more of the junk foods, keep them at the back of the pantry or the back of the fridge where you won't see them or your kids won't see them when you first open the cupboards or the fridge. Portion out your snacks in advance. Eat from smaller plates. Great strategy to control portions. So to manage your portions. When we eat from a larger plate, we tend to want to fill it. Drink water first. So if you feel like you're hungry, but you don't really understand why, because you just ate like half an hour ago, try having a glass of water. Maybe you're just dehydrated. Distract yourself for 6 to 10 minutes. So again, if you have that that impulse to eat and you think, oh, but my body's not really needing food right now, do something else for 6 to 10 minutes and it might just pass. Crunch on apples, celery, or nuts when craving strikes. So there's actual science behind crunching. When we eat crunchy food, it stimulates and activates certain hormones and neurotransmitters that help to control our appetite. Balance your meals, especially breakfast, to regulate your blood sugar levels throughout the day. So if we start our day, if the first meal we eat is lacking protein and fat, we'll probably crave sugar and carbohydrates all day long. And for afternoon slumps, I know most people, from my experience with consulting, most people express fatigue and a drop in energy at about 1, 2, or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And I'm with you. I believe that we're meant to take siestas, but unfortunately, with today's lifestyle, many of us can't. So if you can't have a power nap, just a 10, 15-minute power nap, then maybe consider exercising, getting up and moving, stretching. Meditation is often as effective as sleep. So doing a little meditation, a guided meditation, or have a power food rather than, caffeine, high caffeine or sugar, something like a green drink, which I'm a big fan of, green powdered drinks that you can add to water. They give you a lot of energy. Berries, especially frozen berries. Frozen blueberries are phenomenal for increasing energy. So sometimes I'll just have a little bowl of frozen blueberries, or in the summertime, I like to blend them in my Vitamix with some other frozen fruit, no liquid, and make like a sherbet. You could have a green tea, which does have a little bit of caffeine, but it's not as caffeinated as, say, coffee, or a small piece of dark chocolate. So those foods will help to get you through that afternoon slump. When considering healthy meals and snacks, we want to look at the ingredients. So the more natural the ingredients, the better. Color variation, lower sugar content. We want to try to include protein or a healthy fat at snack time, and ideally both at meals. So protein, again, as all of your animal products. If you're vegetarian or vegan or looking to eat more plant-based, then things like beans, chickpeas, legumes, nuts, seeds, those would be your proteins. And then healthy fats are things like nuts and seeds, avocado, coconut. Those are great fats. Manage your portions, and doing so will leave you feeling more clear, energized, and content. So I'm not sure that we have time to get into, we don't, okay. So the next few slides just list healthy suggestions for breakfast, lunches, dinners, and snacks. And like I said, I'll send you the slides, so you'll have a copy of this. You can reference this. But again, the internet is unlimited. There's so many great resources on there. My absolute favorite websites for recipes are, well, of course, naturalfoodpantry.com. We have a recipe collection on our website. And also I like Detoxinista, and my other favorite is Green Smoothie Girl. And there's one more, I can't remember, but many of you have those because you've been to my seminars before and I've shared them with you. And I can certainly send you some links to my favorite recipe websites when I send you the slides. So there's some healthy breakfast ideas, healthy lunch ideas, dinners, and snacks. So there's lots of healthy snacks that you can make from scratch with all whole natural ingredients. And then I've also listed some healthier, prepared, packaged, minimally processed snacks as well that make it simpler and definitely more accessible. And then 3 foundational supplements for everybody. I really believe no matter how healthy we are eating, we all need to supplement. Unfortunately, the soils today are really depleted of minerals. A lot of our vitamins, our nutrients, and our minerals come from the soil. So foods that are grown in our soils today are not as nutrient dense as they once were. That said, fruits and vegetables are still far superior to any processed food and still contain a hugely significant amount of phytonutrients, antioxidants, vitamins, and minerals that we need. But we do need 72 vitamins and minerals to function ideally or optimally. And if we don't obtain all of those nutrients, if we become deficient in one single nutrient like vitamin D, we all know how much of an impact vitamin D deficiency can have on our health. It can really impact our immune system, our brain, mental health, our bones. So if we become deficient in one single nutrient, then imbalances occur throughout the body, health imbalances, hormonal imbalances. So to ensure that we get everything we need as your sort of insurance policy, I love green drinks. There's the veggie greens here, and they come in different flavors. And you can just add a scoop of that to your water or to your smoothie and drink it once a day. You can drink it first thing in the morning or mid-afternoon. That'll give you lots of energy and lots of nutrition as well. And then a good multivitamin mineral supplement is your insurance policy, and an omega-3 with vitamin D. So the omega-3 with vitamin D is like a fish oil supplement with vitamin D that helps to lubricate the joints, reduce inflammation in the body, nourish the brain and the nervous system, boost the immune system. It's important for skin health, for heart health. There's so many benefits. And I go into that more in some of my other seminars. And to thank you all for attending, we're offering a promotion, 15% off of all of your online purchases up until midnight on Friday. So if you do decide to purchase something through our online store at naturalfoodpantry.com or .ca, oh my goodness, just use the code SIMPLE15 at the checkout and you'll receive 15% off of your purchase. And also, if you're looking to book to get some personalized advice and book a nutritional consultation, I do consult through Natural Food Pantry virtually online for individuals, and I'm happy to offer 15% off of that as well. So I'm just going to stop my screen share here and go to the comments, the chat box. Please, if you have any questions, feel free to type them in the chat box and I'll address them now. I know some people had to go. I see a few people left already. Is it mealtime? Mealtime, the app. The one I mentioned was Meal Lime, L-I-M-E, Meal Lime. So that's one app. But if you look online, there's reviews, so you can find reviews for the top best meal planning apps and just explore them a little bit to find out which one works best for you. Meal Lime does come up often as one of the top recommended apps. Besides olive, coconut, and avocado oil, are there any good oils for cooking? So those are the only 3 that I use. I use olive oil for light heat and for like salad dressings. I use avocado oil when I'm going to stir fry or cook at higher temperatures and I don't want the taste of the coconut oil. I use coconut oil in baking and for high heat dishes that would taste well with that that would be complemented well with that coconut flavor. So things like Thai dishes and Indian food. So those are the three I keep in my pantry. You could also use butter, ideally organic butter, or ghee is fantastic. Ghee is a clarified butter that is used in India in Ayurvedic practices, and it's really good for enhancing the absorption of nutrients into the cells. So that's another option. Multivitamins vary a lot in price, yes. Do you generally get what you pay for? Generally, yes. Should you buy more expensive or particular brands and multivitamins? I don't feel that you need to go high end with the multivitamins. There are some supplements that I definitely recommend you go higher quality or higher end on. Fish oil, you really want to watch the quality. Make sure it's a pharmaceutical grade, so it's been filtered and distilled. Any heavy metals or toxins have been removed from the product. You want to source a fish oil that's made from smaller fish, like sardines, mackerel. These little fish tend to contain less toxins, so I wouldn't recommend buying fish oil from like a mass commercial store. With multivitamins, I really like the more whole plant-based sort of multivitamins. So some of the ones I listed, like Botanica or Mega Food. Yeah, there's some brands that have that source their vitamins and minerals from fruits and vegetables. They're less synthetic, but you definitely don't need to go high end with the multivitamin unless you're really trying to balance out a severe imbalance or deficiency. If you have a severe, health issue that is going to require some heavy duty vitamin and mineral supplementation for some time before you're back in balance and can go to not a lower quality, but like a mid-range sort of product. I believe ghee is also good for cooking. Yes, it is. It's awesome. I think that's about it. It doesn't look, oh, what are your thoughts on intermittent fasting? So I really believe that everyone is unique and we all have unique biochemical needs, and that your diet will change or should change throughout your life. I think if you're relatively healthy, try it, experiment a little bit and try these types of trends, let's say, if they're not, if they're not promoting taking dangerous products or doing anything too extreme, then try it. Try building up your intermittent fast. So rather than going from, if you tend to eat breakfast normally at 7 o'clock in the morning and dinner at 7 p.m. at night and then have a snack after dinner, then don't go to like an 18-hour fast all of a sudden. Take little steps toward that, but maybe cut out the evening snack and see how you feel. I definitely think there is some value and benefit to fasting to a degree. It gives your body a rest from digestion and from all of the processes so that it can focus on building energy and healing and repairing. I personally generally do well on something like an intermittent fast, but listening to your body is really important too. I know there are certain times when I need a snack in the evening. I'm not generally a big evening snacker, but having a handful of nuts, if you have an early dinner, having a handful of nuts a couple hours before bed, or some veggies and hummus or something like that might help you sleep better. So if you go to bed really hungry, that might disrupt your sleep. So play around with it and explore a little bit and see what works for you. Thanks, Lori. Thanks everybody for your feedback. Really appreciate it. Thank you. And the next presentation will likely be in January. I think we're going to take a little pause for December. So watch the website and the newsletters for any upcoming presentations. We have some good ones planned out in the new year for you. If you're not a subscriber to the Natural Food Pantry newsletter, you can subscribe through the Natural Food Pantry website. So I think that about wraps it up. Thank you everybody for attending. I hope you picked up some good tips to help you with your meal planning and healthy eating success. And I look forward to seeing you all again soon. Bye-bye.